What up? Hey, Smiley. What up, dude? RH. Rich homie? That's you. How's everybody doing today? Hope everybody's having an awesome day. If not, well, look for a way to transmute that energy. Y'all heard of energy vampires before? If you have, what comes to mind when you hear the two words energy vampire? When you hear energy vampire, what comes to mind? Do some do some exercises that stretches that works your hip. I guess you think of Dracula when you hear energy vampire. All right, cool, cool. Well, energy vampire is basically someone that feeds off of your energy. Doesn't necessarily have to be an individual. It could be a situation. What's going on, Kevin? Um, Feed off your energy without giving anything back. It leaves us feeling drained, tired, heavy, or maybe even restless after the interaction. It's not always conscious. Sometimes people don't even realize they're doing it, but the effect is still the same. They pull attention, sympathy, or seek for validation nonstop. They thrive on drama, negativity, and control. Hmm. They struggle to self regulate emotionally. Hmm. They struggle to self regulate emotion. So, what they do, they use our energy as a power grid, as a power source of energy. Think of it as like your phone, right? Phone is plugged up, it's charging. It's on 100%. You unplug it. You go around a certain person, around a certain area. Then by the time the interaction is over with, your phone is on 2%. Not only your phone is on 2%, you can't find a charger. Story of my life, always without a charger. So these people, these energy vampires, not people all the time, they can show up as the complainer. Always something wrong, never have a solution to offer. Y'all know anybody like that? You know anybody that always comes around and just complain every time they show up? They got some bad news. Ain't nothing going right for them. And you ask them like, "Well, what you doing for it?" Nothing. Got a nasty cough. What you taking for it? Nothing. What are you doing for it? Nothing. They also, what's up, Chris? They also show up as narcissists. Narcissists. Y'all know this narcissist. It's all about them at the expense of you. Your role in the whole interaction when it comes to the narcissist vampire, the narcissist energy vampire, your role is just to be their supply of attention. That's all you're supposed to do, just supply the attention. That's it. Whether it be good, whether it be bad, whether it be neutral, doesn't matter. The victim. Y'all know this person. I know quite a few people. The one who's always helpless, perpetually helpless. They stay in the victim role even if there's a solution presented. Then the infamous drama magnet. This is that individual that no matter where they go, drama follows. Over there in the corner, drama. In the drive-through lounge, drama. And it seems like it's every time they show up. It's like having that cookout, right? Is nothing but sunshine and clear skies. But soon Norman and Nancy pull up. It's like before they even pull up, clouds get all gray, dark get all skies get all dark, thunder start crackling and shit, rumbling. Oh hell, here comes such and such. So check this out. Y'all know anybody? If you know anybody like those, anyone or any place like those, the complainer, the narcissist, the victim, the drama magnet. If you know any of those, doesn't matter. You can know one or you can know all of them. Put a put a vampire emoji in the chat. So after dealing with these individuals, you left feeling drained, irritable, and it's like you got a torch, and all of a sudden, after they leave or after you leave out of space with them, your torch is dimmed a little. It's not out. It's just dimmed a little bit. Yeah, so, but here's what people don't understand when it comes to energy vampires. That was just the little top layer. Let's peel back a layer. Let's peel back a layer. Energy vampires exist, right? They do on the surface level. But what we got to do is we got to look deeper into a vampire, an energy vampire per se. Like I said, they exist, but they can only drain us if we give them the IV. If we tilt our neck and let them bite, that's the only way. Because just like the movies, right? Just like the movies, you got to invite them in. Now they can attempt to bite without your permission, but the bite is like being bitten by a baby versus a grown person. Somebody with teeth. Doesn't have to be grown, but a person with teeth. If you don't, here's my cord, here's my IV, here's my neck. If you don't give them that power, they can they can bite without asking, but the fangs aren't activated unless you invite them. So when a negative Nancy come around, negative Norma comes around, only if you feed into it, then the sucking will begin. But see, when we get into handing them our energy or not, tilting our neck or not, well, this is called energetic sovereignty. So pretty much, if you set no boundaries, pretty much open buffet. You know, pretty much open buffet. Your aura is an open buffet, pretty much. You don't have any boundaries set. It's like you're just walking around like this, constantly tapping your neck so that vein can pop out, so they can. But if we shift our focus, shift our attention, and don't bite the bait, they're left hungry. And all that shit they talking is just background noise. That's it. But the thing about it is, it's not even about on a deeper level, every point is going to be a deeper level. But it's not even about denying their behavior. It's about remembering who's in control of your own energy, your own field of energy, your own current. No. So, most people, trigger warning, most people enjoy being fed on. Why do y'all think most people enjoy being fed on? Because we hear people complaining all the time about energy vampires this. I can't stand when such and such come around here. And all they do is suck my blood. So the question, why do y'all think that people enjoy being fed on? And while we're waiting on y'all to reply, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this live. Well, it puts them in the role as the question was, why do you think people enjoy being fed on? Makes them feel needed. Yeah, that's one. All right. So it validates their role pretty much what readings was saying. It makes them feel needed. It puts them in the role as the rescuer. In the streets, we call this Captain Saver. Insert individual. Insert title. Helper. Going to what he was just saying, makes them feel needed. Advisor. This makes them feel important. A 304. Yeah. And also we've heard a lot of people use the empath. It could make them feel as if they're an empath. But being in that role is the invitation to your neck all the time. This is why we hear the same individuals complain about energy vampires. Because if you're stuck in that role of wanting to be needed, wanting to help rescue somebody, advise somebody, or feeling what they feel, yeah, that keeps inviting them back after visit, after visit, after visit. So yeah, so yeah, energy vampires are real, but it only affects them. The fangs are only activated when we tilt our neck. So here's the thing. Let's go deeper with this energy vampire because we all like to just harp and complain. So here's the question. Three-part question. Is there a purpose for an energy vampire? If we're the type of individuals that think that everything happens for a reason, everything happens when it's supposed to happen, your answer should be yes. There is a purpose for vampires. Now, let's narrow this purpose down. Are they teaching us boundaries or are they a distraction from growth? To foster self awareness. So that right there, that's one of those few hidden gems. It's kind of like what you was mentioning the other day. Something being bad actually turning out to be good. So, and y'all know me, I like to look at both sides of the coin. So, people love these ideas of having boundaries. Not only that people love having boundaries, people also love the idea of you having boundaries. Now, this is what we're going to get into. People love the idea of you having boundaries until those boundaries inconvenience them. Then here it comes. Here it comes. So if you always been the yes person, all of a sudden your answer is no, the no may feel like betrayal to that person. If you always have that safe space to dump on, when you start rejecting them of that space, well, pretty much that's what it feels like to them, rejection. Your refusal to that space, oh shit, that's like the worst thing to them. Besides betrayal, oh hell no, I've been rejected. No, no, I ain't going for that. No, no, no can do. If you've always told disrespect, but suddenly drawing the line somewhere, oh now you're cold and selfish and here's my favorite. Mean. You're mean. So, that's the that's the hook right there. The moment we start protecting our boundaries, like uh, someone we know always said, what's good of having boundaries if you're not protecting them, if you're not enforcing them. But the moment you do that, the moment you start enforcing your boundaries, well, guess what? You're the villain. Just because you revoke their access pass at the gate. So yeah, they don't they don't they don't just teach boundaries. They also teach enforcement. Is it a boundaries if you don't enforce it? It will kind of be like an unwritten rule. I would like for you not to, but that's just a suggestion. So yeah, they teach enforcement. They don't just teach boundaries. It's like that security guard, you know, checking to see if you really meant what you said. You know, it can go from it can go from words to smoke screen, or that wall that you put up, That wall you put up could be 3D chalk lines on the floor. It ain't really there. It ain't really. It's just an optical illusion. That's it. So, but here's the kicker. The moment that we're labeled the bad guy, mean, cold, and selfish, that's the sign that our spell is actually working. Like I said, boundaries with no enforcement, with no consequence, it's just suggestions. Could you please not do this? No, you don't ask for permission to protect your shit. It's like somebody breaking your house 2, 3 a.m. and you hear the glass break. You go get the pistol and everything. You like, Mr. Robert, could you please not rob us? Hand shaking. You done fuck around and shot yourself. so, so I got another question for the chat. When we come to those situations and areas where we do have to say no, we do have to protect our boundaries, and they call us the bad guy. Do you shrug it off or do you feel some type of way about it? Like, does it sting when we're labeled the bad guy? Because we done denied access to our neck. Our neck will no longer be your dinner table. Do you feel bad? Do you feel some type of way? Or do you shrug it off when we're labeled the bad guy? Me, I don't give no fuck. Not at all. Not at all. Because them calling you mean, selfish, the bad guy, all from denying access to your neck. That's just a guilt trip. Pretty much the guilt trip. And once we start to feel bad, guess what we'll do? There you go. But it's not gonna it's not gonna work though. Because you are not strong enough or mentally stable enough to take the backlash from you protecting your boundaries. Doesn't make you a bad person. Just mean you gotta get back in the gym. You gotta hit the iron again. Some more. So the guilt trip is their last resort. Is the last resort to get you to open the door. And you opening the door is the invitation. Remember I said the vampires need the invitation? So it's like, first move, feed me. Then we say no. They switch to, wow, you've changed. You're selfish. But if you bite the bait, boom, hook, line, sinker. Neck tilted, feast continues. But the only way that guilt trip works if you feel like you own something. But once you realize that you don't, more background noise. So in a sense, the guilt trip is the fang test. If you hold your ground, you train your energy body, because we have many bodies. Have light body, emotional body, in this case, energy body, physical body. So if you hold your ground, stand on your square, like the young folks now say, stand on business. If you stand on business, your energy body will stop leaking. Your energy body will stop leaking because that's what we're doing. Once we protect our boundaries, we're just training our energy body to be more strong, less feeble. Anybody, somebody, everybody. But if you cave in, you pretty much just gave them, you just pretty much signed their permission slip. And honestly, sometimes the meal they want isn't even your energy. I mentioned earlier your attention. The attention, that's the real good. That's the real feast. You know, if I can hook your focus, positive or negative, I mean, plugged into your power source. Got my table, your neck, plate, spoon, and knife and fork. Bib tucked in my neck. And then we move it on. And if you deny me, I'll just go find another neck. So, when it comes to the guilt trip and the attention, let's blend these together. The guilt trip and the attention. When somebody tries to guilt trip you, this for y'all in the chat who's still here, do you clap back and call it out? Or do you just ignore it and keep it moving? Which one do you do? All right. Okay. Okay. Take right now today. Okay. Okay. So do you clap back? Or do you just ignore it and keep it moving? If we get bitten, should we take it personally? If we get bitten, we should start reflecting. So yeah, we should take it personally. But as far as taking their action, on their behalf personally, no, because it's their job to bite. It's their job to feed on the energy. That's the only way that they can sustain life. Yeah, yeah, we should take it personally because it was our personal decision to tilt our neck. So yeah, I mean, they're not responsible for it. They're just doing their job. Same way if we was to get bitten by a snake. Snakes bite. So for the people who answer clap back You're still you're still supplying the meal. It's just instead of on the sympathy channel, it's now on the fight channel. Energy is energy. Tension is tension. That vampire doesn't care if it's love, pity, or rage. They just want to plug in and eat. Now, the ones that fall victim to it, ooh boy, they're in for quite bumpy ride. But these are usually the people who are people pleasers. They haven't learned that guilt is just an emotional blackmail, dressed as concern. So there's three paths. There's really three paths to the potential meal. You ignore the guilt trip. Well, if you ignore the guilt trip, you starve the vampire. If you clap back, you feed the vampire. But if you submit to the vampire, you serve the vampire. And see, when we ignore the vampire, that's the most substantial, the most effective way to handle a vampire because it cuts the cords, it cuts the avenue, it puts up a roadblock. Do not enter sign. Trespassers will be prosecuted. It puts up all of these things. But a twist to the city is sometimes with these vampires, because some of these vampires have been vampires for so long, they know what's going to be a rebuttal from a potential meal. Just like how we'll spend 20 years to learn ways to fight a vampire. Vampires put in that same work and energy, that same 20 years to combat us. So sometimes ignoring these vampires teaches them a lesson way faster than confrontation ever could. Because it forces them to face their own hunger. And if we take this to the body, when you start to starve the body of nutrients, what does it do? It starts to feed on itself. And so when it's feeding on itself, it's facing its own hunger, its own mirror, without any distraction. So it's forced to sit there and touch and take it. But then will come up the question, but but this would be the most sympathetic ass people, the the empath. Oh, I feel it. I feel what you feel. I'm gonna feel it with you. Start making excuses for these vampires. Do you think they know they're running the guilt trip? Or 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 is it just a habit? Them vampires know that they what they are doing. Remember the 20 years of practice we just talked about a few seconds ago? Yeah, they know. They know. They know. They know. They know. But that's the part people don't like to talk about. The part that they don't like to talk about is the solution. Because when we start, it's a solution for the meal person, but it could be a problem for the vampire because okay, the guilt trip's not working. The guilt trip doesn't work. Now I have to sit here and face myself. I have to sit here and look in the mirror. Self doubt starts to self doubt self doubt starts to creep in. Why isn't anyone giving me what I need? Then self doubt turns into self pity. Nobody cares about me anymore. Then here comes the despair. Beating yourself up. Maybe life is starving me. Oh shit, but the spiral is real. A lot of them know what they're doing. The guilt trips, manipulation, calculated emotional hooks, textbook narcissistic energy. And what I was saying earlier, they bite without asking, but the effect isn't the same as like equivalent getting bit by a baby with no teeth versus a person with teeth. But that just depends on whether if you allow it or not. You know, but like I was saying, permission is still needed. And like I mentioned before, the most dangerous part about it is they'll keep searching. They'll keep searching for neck after neck after neck after neck. Excuse me. Then they'll put on different masks, different facades to get what they want. Victim, hero, the clown, the lover. They'll keep changing out those masks until somebody decides to pull out their pen and sign the goddamn permission slip. But once you see it, you can't unsee it. That rule applies to the spiritual community, the conscious community. Once you take off society's glasses and you put on the glasses of consciousness or the glasses of spirituality, it's like once you put those glasses on, it becomes your face and you can't take it out. You can't take it off. Like that movie with Roddy Piper in it. What is it? Uh As They See Us or something like that. Yeah. you see it, you can't unsee it. The bite loses its power. It's like watching some puppets do their thing, and the more you pay attention, you start to see the strings. Then you follow the strings up. Then you see the puppeteer. You're no longer fooled by the show. The gig is up. So we continue to move it, going a little bit deeper. I mentioned earlier what's the purpose of a vampire? To push self awareness, to help teach boundaries, and to even help force enforce those boundaries. Now let's take that a little further. Is a vampire necessary for collective growth, collective evolution? Or do you see them as a parasite for the collective to keep us weak? I see the duality in them. Me personally, I see the duality. They are parasites, right? They are. Yeah, the fuck they are. But the parasites are to push collective evolution. It's like a spiritual boot camp. Yes, it's brutal. Yes, boot camp is brutal, but it's designed to break the untrained habits and build resilience. Boot camp and the purpose for a vampire on a deeper level, same shit. But only the victims look at it as they're feeding on me. What do I do? Ooh, woe is me. Y'all bring out the fucking confetti, the noisemaker, the party poppers. They want a pity party. So if we evolve, we graduate from boot camp. We graduate from boot camp stronger, sharper, and teaching others how to dodge the fangs. If you don't, guess what? You get recycled. You become another open meal, which continues the cycle of predator and prey. So they are both teacher and parasite. Parasite because they live off of what they don't generate themselves. A teacher because their very presence focused to build awareness, immunity, and sovereignty. It's almost like we are supposed to embrace the shadow side. Don't guess me where I get that idea. That's just crazy. We're supposed to embrace our shadow side? Mm, mm, mm. So it's like They're saying, I'm here to test the collective. I'm here to test the collective value on what they really say or the value on their energy. How much do you value your energy? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? If you don't value your energy, you pay in blood. If you do, you level up. You level up. And so there's a couple ways that we can look at that. But I'm gonna ask y'all a question. Do y'all think that vampires exist out of people, outside of a person, like actual energetic entities feeding on the collective weakness? Or do you see it strictly as human psychology playing out? I'll give you a hint. It's a trick question. And trick questions have tricky answers. Because if we're talking about outside energetic entities, these energetic entities would be organizations, society, or the government. But here's the trickiness in it, they're ran by people, and the rules and boundaries are set in place to keep the collective weak. It is a result of human psychology. So it's like both. It's like the human psychology results with the results of the collective being weak is due to the human psychology because energy isn't good or bad. It's not. There's no such thing as a good thing. There's no such thing as a bad thing. There's no such thing as good energy or bad energy. It is just energy. Now, though we're still on the subject of energy vampires, the more and more we get into it, we're starting to take the responsibility away from the vampire because its only responsibility is to eat. So when it comes to this energy being good or bad, being good or bad, it just is. Now we're breaking that down into two levels, the micro or the macro. The micro level, the vampire is just looking for individuals to run guilt trips on, manipulate, and narcissize. On the macro level, it scales up into systems. This is where it starts to be actual outside of humans, like governments, religions, corporations, feeding the fear, feeding on fear, compliance, attention, money and time. Money and time. When I hear money and time, I think of a job. I exchange my time for your money. Oh yeah, your job can be an energy vampire as well. You ever had one of those jobs? You're fine until you get to work. You get to work, you get to fucking feeling bad, headaches, start feeling things in your body that you wasn't feeling prior to pulling up. That could be an energy vampire. It doesn't necessarily have to fit the description of a person. Well, but underneath both, it's still, like I said, it's still human psychology externalized. Because psychology is the study of human behavior, right? And so energy itself is not evil or holy, it's neutral. It just follows the focus. Where your attention goes, your energy flows. So the real vampire isn't out there. It's in the examined parts of ourselves that allow feeding cycle to exist in the first place. The label we slap on good, bad, empowered, drained comes from how we channel and whether or not we set the boundaries. Not only set the boundaries, but enforce the boundaries. So if the collective build enough energetic immunity, the big vampires can try every disguise, every manipulation, every control tactic, but eventually their resources runs dry. Systems that depend on our ignorance, fear, and distraction can't even sustain themselves when the people stop feeding. If we stop feeding them, they starve. Whether it be a person or entity. But the funny part is the collapse might look chaotic, scary, or even messy at first. But that's just the system's last gasp for air. Its last fight for life. It's like a parasite writhing before it dies. The ecosystem of human energy is recalibrating, finally free to flow without drain. which is why we should teach energetic sovereignty. And there's a reason why it's also a revolutionary act. Each person who protects their neck is a strike against the collective vampire buffet. The more we guard our energy, the faster we force the evolutionary boot camp effect on these systems to step up, causing them to turn off. It's like the parasite becomes the student of the collective. What y'all think about this so far? Yes, it does. Just because no one's around to hear it doesn't mean it doesn't make a noise. You just wasn't present to capture the noise. Y'all want to know what energetic immunity looks like? Emotional autonomy. Before someone throws a guilt triple complaint at you, you instantly feel responsible, defensive, or drained. After, you notice the emotion hitting the air, but it doesn't stick. You can observe it, maybe respond, maybe not. You know it's their storm, not yours. Things to practice. To practice. This is the practice. Say this. Am I the gatekeeper or the visitor here? When we say that, we pause before engaging emotionally. The practice is start with micro boundaries, boundary enforcement. The practice is start micro boundaries, declining small favors, muting distraction notifications, or walking away from draining conversations. Build the macro boundaries, family dynamics. I just mentioned workplace energies, and systemic expectations. Another form of energetic immunity is selective attention. The practice is to identify attention leeches or attention leaks in your energetic body throughout your day, whether it's emails, scrolling, conversations. Cut them immediately or redirect them, repurpose them. Internal checkpoints. practice. Journaling, meditation, or even mental visualizations of energy flow. So during meditation, picture your torus field pulsing as you are visualizing your field pulsing. Imagine gates going up around it or energy fields going around it. This is to keep individuals away who shouldn't be around. Before we did the practice, it showed up as our energy just everywhere it wanted to go, not where our focus was, but because the lack of focus, it just did its own thing. Kind of like the dude, the little air man, air woman, air body, air person at the dealerships that just be that shit just goes any other way. That was before the practice. After the practice, we develop a mental checkpoint. And this mental checkpoint should be, does this feed me or drain me? If it drains, disengage, redirect, transform the energy. Non reactivity. We don't have to say anything about the shit at all. We can just look at it and have no emotional connection to it at all. Our practice is breath work. 444. 369. Inhale, hold, release. Inhale for 4, hold for 4, release for 4 seconds. Same way with the 369. Inhale 3, hold 6, release 9. This also recalibrates nervous systems. Are you the vampire or are you the thief? Trigger warning, some of y'all may be the vampire. Y'all not always the feast. Y'all need to recognize which one you are. Let's get into it. Your energy after interactions. If you're the feast, it leaves you drained, foggy, irritated, tired. This is how we leave the conversations if we're the feast. But guess what happens if you're the vampire? For those of you out there that feel energetic after having conversations, you leave the conversation feeling better, but the other person is drained and even looks it. Y'all know those purples. Y'all know those people. Some of us deal with them on a daily basis. Your motivation for talking. Are you the feast? Here's how to tell. You mostly listen, absorb, and allow people to unload on you without you being fed and without them filtering. Does this count for sitting in streams? It could. If the stream is trauma dumping based, yeah, yeah. But see, the thing with the stream is instead of one neck to bite, I have many necks to bite. If this was that type of stream, I would have two necks at my disposal right now. If you're the vampire, you most you mostly vent, complain, or seeking validation without giving space for balance. You know what that means? I'm gonna say what all I got to say and not listen for the solution, not want the solution. Mm, mm, mm. So truth is, We play both roles sometimes. I know some of y'all ain't want to hear that. Yeah, sometimes you're the vampire. Yeah, sometimes you're the victim. The difference is awareness. Energy vampires need your permission to feed. If you stop holding your neck, they'll face their own hunger and move on. So next time, ask yourself, am I the meal or am I the vampire? Some of y'all will want to, you know, toot your own horn. You want to toot your own horn, and then what? Play victim. But it ain't really, it ain't really that serious. If you ask me. But what is serious is that oh shit. Hold on, y'all. All right. We about to land this plane with some reflection questions. Feast or vampire? When was the last time I left a conversation feeling drained? And what role did I play in that conversation? Well, if we've been paying attention, we know what role we would have played in that question. Let's keep it moving. Where in my life do I unconsciously give away my energy? To whom or to what? How do I usually respond when someone tries to guilt trip or manipulate me? In what ways have I ever acted as an energy vampire without realizing it? Last one. What boundary or energetic protection will I commit to safeguard my energy? Hey, I think your moon is showing. But yeah, it would be fine. It would be perfectly fine. Instead of your neck, it'll, but that's still you being the victim. That's still you being the meal. But hey, some people won't have any problem with being that meal. Oh man. Oh man. Hey, I didn't say that was a dumb question either. Yeah, so y'all, energy vampires, they aren't curses, they're mirrors. They show us where we leak, where our boundaries are weak, and where we've been giving away our power. That sounds like the shadow side of number 8, giving away your power. But here's the truth. They only bite when we allow it. You are the gatekeeper of your energy. Don't let anybody make you feel different or feel bad from safeguarding your energy. You can choose who, what, and how much you feed. So as you leave here today, ask yourself, am I the thief, the vampire, or the one who finally guards the gate? Now here's some homework for you. I said I wasn't going to give any, but I changed my mind. Today's Friday. From today to next Friday, pick one boundary that you're going to enforce. Pick one boundary that you may struggle with, and from today to next Friday, work on enforcing those boundaries or that boundary. But remember, while you're doing so, after you do so, and when you about to do it again, remember this: energy is sacred. Protect it, defend it, feed yourself first. And the moment you do, you stop being the prey and start being sovereign. Your neck is yours. Your energy is yours. Your life is yours. Guard it like it matters, because it does. Thank y'all for rocking with me. And until next time, remember, you're all stars, so shine like one.